You're listening to the Kennel Confidential podcast brought to you by the United Treeing Feist Association. I'm your host, Davin Ramage.
I'm your co-host, Chad Wagner.
Let's get into the episode. We are back again on the Kennel Confidential podcast. It's been a busy past couple weeks, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm still kind of tired.
Went from, had a hunt. Was it a club hunt end of December? Like the 30th or 31st or something? That was a club hunt, I think.
30th, 31st, we had a club hunt. And,
Christmas before that. Then New Year's. Then Treeing Feist Days.
Yeah, and in between the club hunt and Treeing Feist Days, of course, that's a week worth of cleaning, preparation, running around in circles. It's interesting trying to get one of those hunts put together.
And tune a dog up at the same time.
Well, that didn't happen much.
Well, I was in the woods doing something. I don't think I was tuning either. Did a lot of walking, a whole lot of walking. Squirrels have laid up and gone to their nest around here, at least for my dog. Well, so coming off of Treeing Feist Days, that is going to be the topic of this episode. That is a UTFA event, United Treeing Feist being the sponsor of the podcast. We felt like we'd hit on that. So, Chad, since you are the founding member, you were there at the beginning, tell us a little bit, what is Treeing Feist Days?
United Treeing Feist Association is a chartered association through UKC. And each year, each chartered association can get their own breed days. Treeing Feist Days is basically that. It's our one hunt a year to really showcase the treeing feist.
What format of a hunt is it?
Well, it's kindly our own. So in UKC, pretty much it's all about cast wins. We don't do elimination style hunts for Treeing Feist Days. We do a cast win format. So basically for Treeing Feist Days, we take 3 cast wins into the hunt. It's Saturday morning, Saturday evening, and Sunday morning. So basically, if you roll into Sunday morning with 3 cast wins, you're sitting on top. If there's multiple people with cast wins, we then go back to most accumulated score through the 3 rounds. You know, a winner could be 3 cast wins, 600 plus, 200 circle. Second place could be 2 cast wins, 1,000 plus, 400 circles. So it basically goes by, cast win first and then most accumulated score over the three rounds.
And this is the only hunt, at least of the UTFA host, that is a 3-cast, 3-day hunt, right?
Yeah, we host a Kentucky Classic. We hosted United Feist Days this year, and most of those are 2 rounds. And we first set up Treeing Feist Days was like, well, let's have that 3rd round just as an outlier. We can kindly break the ties with, and so that's why we started doing three events. Another reason why we do it that way is in UKC, if it's not the World Hunt, if you do a full elimination hunt, you only get credit for cast wins on that first cast that you win. Every cast after that, you don't get credited with a cast win. So, like this year we had 9 states represented. So people, traveled pretty good distance, 16 hours, 10 hours, that way they can come up, spend the weekend, basically have a chance of getting accredited with, 4 cast wins if they win all 4 casts, because we have a 4-boy hunt on Sunday afternoon. And that way people that did drive a long way, they want to get out of there, lunchtime on Sunday, they have that option. So we do that just to kind of help people out driving so far and not driving just to maybe get 1 cast win.
So do you have to own a Treeing Feist to hunt in the Feist Days competition?
No, we opened it up to Mountain Feist as well. I guess we kindly went back and looked at what the UKC hound associations were doing. Most of those guys, if walker days. A blue tick or an English can go win walker days, and a walker can win red bone days and stuff like that. So we did open it up to the mountain feist too. We didn't want to exclude those guys from hunting. The only thing is you have to be a member of United Treeing Feist Association to win the bigger awards. The if a mountain feist was to win our hunt, and we would say the overall winner is the mountain feist, even if they weren't a member. But then we would give out our placements and our awards. We feel like that's one hunt a year we can and do give back to our members.
Yeah, and so Treeing Feist Days is you'd say the flagship hunt of the United Treeing Feist Association. How long has the UTFA been hosting Treeing Feist Days?
This year was the 5th annual.
So that was same time UTFA started. That was hey, we're here, come on and compete.
Yeah, as soon as we got started, we tried to put together this hunt. Just here we are.
Right.
This is what we're doing. Type of thing.
Sure. Where has it been held? I know at least 2 different locations. I assume just because the UTFA headquarters have kind of shifted across Kentucky. So, in the 5 years, how many locations have you been held at?
Oh, it's been the same location every year. It's been at Twin Lakes Coon Club in Hardin, Kentucky every year. Even before I moved down here, we held it down here. We think that right here in this area, West Kentucky is pretty central to everybody. You got New York driving, 16 hours. He's probably one of the biggest outliers that we have. And, if you go North Carolina, Michigan, Missouri, Illinois, Texas, Mississippi, it's kind of centralized for all those guys to come down.
And on the topic of turnout, how has the UTFA seen this, flagship hunt grow over the past 5 years from the turnout of dogs and states represented in 2019 at the first one to now?
Well, considering the first one we had, I believe a tornado took the part of the roof off Walmart in the next town over. Torrential rains, horrible weather. We didn't have many dogs that year. It was kind of a meek existence then. Last year it was building up. We give out a little over $1,000 worth of prizes last year with 17 dogs. And this year we were up to 24 dogs, and I think we was right at about $2,000 in prizes that we give away. So it's definitely growing. It's definitely growing. People are buying into the association, and it shows. Our members are what makes us. Like I said, we just try to give back to them at this hunt. It's kind of an appreciation dinner on Friday night for the people that get there on Friday. It's it's a free dinner that they come in and eat, and we have an auction and raffles and joke, and it's just a big time. It really is.
It's always a friendly atmosphere around a UKC hunt.
We shoot and strive to have a family environment. Yeah, we want people to compete just as hard as they can when they go out, and then come in and sit down and joke and laugh the rest of the time. We had 8 casts on Saturday morning, 8 casts on Sunday morning, or I'm sorry, Saturday evening. And you couldn't tell, unless you looked at the scorecards, you couldn't tell who won and who lost. And I think that's the way it should be,
Yeah, and even in spite of the squirrel hunting conditions that I've been experiencing here locally around the LBL property, just kind of buzzing through the scorecard here to refresh myself. Saturday was a good day. I think everybody scored squirrels. Sunday was a little rough, but had good movement, had good conditions, really, considering the way it's been. You and I were talking about that kind of leading up to the hunt, afraid that there wouldn't be many squirrels scored. The winner of the hunt, the guy, Jamie McCarson, guy we're getting ready to bring into the show, he went into Sunday with 1,100 plus points. That's pretty good squirrel movement. Sunday was a little slow for him, but he still wound up with 1,300 plus points. So that's a lot of trees made and a lot of fun had. And I look down the list of these dogs, and I think anybody in any squirrel hunting series pleasure hunts. They're squirrel dogs, but there's some series that are heavily competition driven, and nothing against them. I'm a competitor myself, and I'll compete with you in Mario Kart on the Nintendo, So nothing against competition driven people. But when I look down the list of the dogs here, I see a lot of pleasure dogs. And it's not necessarily names or dogs or people you associate with just heavy competition squirrel hunting. This is just when you look at the list of dogs and the list of handlers, it's just a list of squirrel hunters is what it is.
If you look at that list, I mean, a lot of these people I didn't know 5 years ago. One that stands out in my mind is Rob Bay. Now, Rob Bay, his first competition hunt was the world hunt last year. It was close to him. He jumped in and went to the world hunt. I got drawed out with him on the first round. We had a dead cast, me, him, and Aiden Mitchell, and just had a great time. And he's been at all of our big hunts since. Casey Slyman, he brought 2 dogs and brought a brand new guy to the competition. He had a great hunt. I got to draw out with him Sunday night. He beat me. We we're sitting there talking out there at the truck. Me, him, and Rob Bay was out there talking. I look at my watch. I'm like, guys, we got to go. You got this cast won. We got to get the scorecard back to the clubhouse. But just sitting there talking, we just had a great time.
And that was one on my list that I really wanted to go watch. Was Casey Merle, and didn't get a chance to. But I don't know if I wanted to watch Merle or watch Casey pack his kids through the woods. If they hadn't listened to Casey's episode, I definitely recommend going back and listening to Casey's episode. Great guy. I met him in person for the first time this past weekend. But good guy, fun to be around, good competitor, good at the clubhouse, good dog.
We had a poster board. We put all the scores, on for every dog that was there. If you took Jamie out of there, because he just had a phenomenal weekend, I can't take that away from him. But you look at all the other scores; they're fairly close. It was anybody's game, and that's what I like about our format is you can go out and have one bad outing, and you're still not out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You could have sometimes you'd have 2 bad outings and not out of it. We went down to we do about the same format at our classics. When we had a Georgia Classic, and Jamie went with us, and he had a dead cast that morning, and I mean it was just horrible. And had one guy that had a pretty good cast that morning. He's like, "Well, I'm out of it," and he went back out afternoon, and everybody else done bad, and he done real good, and ended up winning the whole hunt. So that's what I like about this format instead of elimination. Just because you didn't do too hot or your dog didn't look too good that one round, you're not out of it. You can be last place dog today and win the whole hunt in the morning.
Yeah, conditions can definitely change with squirrels in about 4 hours or less. Well, without further ado, we're going to get Jamie pulled into the show. Jamie's a guy that I've been around. You've been around him longer and more than I have. But anytime Jamie's around, he's cutting up. He's good at the clubhouse. He's a good handler. He really is. He's a good competitor, good handler to be in the woods with. I got to watch him Sunday for the first time. Sage is another dog on my list that I'd been wanting to watch go, and I was not disappointed. Even in bad conditions, Sunday was the worst day hunted. I think she was 200 plus, but she was a lot of fun to watch. Jamie, his experience in handling showed. He's a good handler, good competitor, friendly on the cast, friendly when he gets back. And he drove, I forgot what he told us, 2 hours-ish, I think. So he's not one that's traveling near as far as Ed from Michigan or Joni from Texas or the Plants from New York. But, with Jamie's work schedule and got young kids at home and that sort of thing, he still did put in the time and stayed all weekend, and it was worth his while. So without further ado, I say we get Jamie pulled in here and talk to him a little bit about his dog and his experience at the Treeing Feist Days competition.
Sounds great.
Hello.
Hey, Jamie, it's Davin. What's up?
What's going on, bud?
Jamie, I don't even know what part of Tennessee you're from. I just know it's Tennessee.
Well, I tell everybody I'm from Waverly, Tennessee. I'm actually from McEwen, but Waverly's a little bit bigger, so I always say I'm from Waverly, Tennessee.
Well, Jamie, we got you on here to talk about your Sage dog and Smokin Sage, I guess is her official name, McCarson Smokin Sage. just kind of some of her accomplishments. She's been a hot little dog over the past few years. But before we jump into that too much, we do like to kind of get a feel for who we're talking to and where you're coming from. Of course, we know you're from McCuen now.
Yes, sir.
How long ago did you get Sage? Kind of give us a background there, how old she is. Did you get her as a pup, that sort of thing?
I got Sage from a guy named Casey Slyman. I picked her up when she was 6 weeks old. He had a litter of pups. He's actually from McCuen, Tennessee as well. He's probably 20 minutes from me. I had a dog named McCarson's Timberjack. And he was probably around 6 years old, something like that. And I thought, well, I need to cross him to something, and keep some pups out of him. I made a few crosses with him, but make a long story short, I called Casey up. He had a litter of pups. He had a female that was at a Drakes Creek Dester, and he bred her to his Rocky dog. And he probably had 6, 7 pups out of it. And I went up there and picked one of them out. Started hunting her, and a jack dog, he got killed. And I'll be honest with you, man, it hurt me pretty bad. If she wasn't a started dog, I don't know how quick I'd have got back in it. But anyway, I'm glad she was, and I'm glad I kept on it, and I've really enjoyed the little dog.
So got her at 6 week old from Casey. Who was the female you said she was out of?
She's out of Rocky. The female is, her name is Biddy, which is a female out of Dexter.
Okay. Yeah, and Biddy was at the hunt this past weekend, too.
Yes, sir, she was. Actually, I drew her in the first round. He had Matt Lineberry. First hunt he's ever been to. Casey brought him his little female. It's actually he's hunting a female that's a litter mate to Sage. Well, she just come off a litter of pups, and he didn't hunt her, so he brought her mama to get her registered and hunt her.
Well, so how old is Sage now? I know I asked you to hunt. I think you told me she was 3.
She's 3, yes, sir.
So, Jamie, before we get back into Treeing Feist Days this year, Davin was talking about some of the other accomplishments. She's UKC Grand Squirrel Champion, 2021 Kentucky Classic 4th place, 22 Feist Days 3rd place, 23 Feist Days 1st place. She won our Georgia Classic when we had it a couple years ago. UKC World Hunt 4th place.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, today we're talking about the 2024 Feist Days 1st place. And you hit on a little bit. So you drew Sage's mama in the first round.
Yes, sir.
Who else did you draw, and how'd that cast kind of go?
It went good. He told me that, that her mom, she's been bred a few times and been in the pen for, about a year or so, and he just started hunting her. So she was a little slow on the start, but I'll be honest with you, a little bit over halfway through the hunt, she started competing against Sage pretty good.
Was that a 2-dog cast?
It was,
okay.
Yeah. And Matt, he didn't know a lot about the rules, so I was kind of teaching him as we go, The more you know the rules in competition, I mean, you could tree your dog right away, or you can make that dog hold almost to 2 minutes before you tree yours. There's a lot of strategies you can use that can help you and hurt you in a hunt. But we had a good hunt. The evening cast, I drew Casey Slyman with Merle, which is Sage's litter mate. Well, not litter mate, I'm sorry. It's her half brother. And I drew Joseph Garner. Great guy. We went on a cast. Dogs hunted great. Merle and Sage, I don't know if I think they really, really competed against each other that day. Merle had about the same amount of trees as I did, and he just wasn't as lucky as Sage. Sage had the squirrel, and he was at her search area most of the time, and we couldn't find nothing.
Yeah, that first day they moved a whole lot better than they did the second.
They did, that's for sure.
What was your
I
scores
guess it depends on where you was at.
Well, I went to the park at LBL.
Yeah. What was your scores on that first cast with Biddy?
I think I had 450 plus and 300 circle or something like that. I don't remember what Biddy had.
So then with Merle, do you remember how that one worked out score wise?
Yeah, I want to say I had 675 maybe, or 650 or something like that. I had she had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 first trees, and she had 1 second tree.
I'll help you out there a little bit, Jamie. first round, Sage had 450 plus, and then the second round, Sage had 650 plus.
So cast winner on both first rounds though.
Yep.
So
You went out with me on the Sunday morning round.
right. So but prior to Sunday, you were probably breathing a little bit of relief, I guess, right?
You never know, man. That's why you never know how a hunt's going to go.
Yeah.
You could go out and have a dead cast, and dogs could, make several trees, and you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, yes, I was looking good, of course, but if Anna wanted to come in and won her cast and I lost mine, then she would have had it. So
True. That's true. Yeah. So then going into Sunday, that was kind of a change in conditions that day too.
yeah, it was. I think it was cooling off all day there. It got to sleeping on us a little bit. The dogs didn't make near the trees. I think Sage had 200 plus 200 circle that morning cast. Drew, Ed Rogers, and Aiden Mitchell. Ed's little dog hunted good, hunted out, stayed gone a long time. I don't think the squirrels were moving near as good.
Yeah, I agree. But when you first cut Sage, when that cast took off, she flew in there real quick and got treed fast and hammered and stayed treed. And I was impressed with her. That's the first time I ever got to see Sage go. And even in poor conditions, I was impressed with her. I think she's a nice little dog. And
she surprises me as small as she is and stuff. She's got a pretty good mouth on her. If it's a good tree, she's going to stick it good. And I've not really seen her ever pull to another dog or any kind of pressure, especially on a good tree.
Fast too, pretty fast in the woods.
Yeah.
But she hammered that first one real quick, and I kind of thought, all right, we're going to have a shootout here. It's a pretty good cast, really, between the three dogs, and I thought we was going to have a shootout. But then we learned real quick that they just wasn't moving that good.
Right.
And Jamie, you was the only one to have 3 cast wins on the weekend. And not only did you win, you was highest scoring dog on all 3 rounds.
Yeah, luck went my way this weekend. I enjoyed it, had a good time. Enjoyed the fellowship, good food. It's just we had a good weekend.
I'm over trying to hand you all the plaques, and you needed about 4 arms to pack them all. I didn't think I was ever going to get done handing you stuff.
Right. Yeah, I had that.
Came in and cleaned up on us this weekend.
Right. I enjoyed it, man. It was I don't know if anybody's come in and been the highest score dog all 3 rounds, but it was I was just in a good spot. Squirrels were moving in there, and I'll be honest with you, we was heading down LBL. Matt Lineberry, he was riding with me, and I ain't been to this place, man, in 2 years. I think when we went in there, I went in there with James Byram and Wendell Pooley and Mike Perry. We went hunting on the LBL. First time I ever been meat hunting, and that's where we hunted at. And I just thought, heck, I'm gonna go try it down here. Well, we go down to LBL and we're driving. It's a decent drive. We're going into the Tennessee side, and probably, I don't know, a couple 100 yards before I pull into where I'm going to park, we see 4 squirrels run across the road. I said, man, this right here looks good. There's a lot of squirrels in here. So we pulled in, and that's where I took every cast after that morning cast.
I wished I could have got on your cast.
Yeah.
Just to be in the squirrels. I don't know. Sage was hot. I don't know if I'd wish for that or not. She was a hot dog this weekend.
She looked good. She looked good this weekend. I was proud of her. I tell you what, man, her daddy, Rocky, he's probably, for his size, pound for pound, is probably got a big as mouth on him as any Feist you'll run across. Well, when I first got her and I took her to the woods and trying to coach her, to hunt, and heck, she got to where she wanted to bark up every tree in the woods, and I thought, dadgum, I wish I'd have never got one from him. So I was scratching my head on that because she wanted to bark up everything at first. But being, coming from him, I thought, well, if I got a pup from him, more than likely they're going to bark. Some Feist, it's hard to get them to bark tree or, get them started barking, but I didn't have that issue with her.
No, I bet Casey'd probably take her back from me, though, if you just really wanted to let her go.
Yeah, but it'd be hard for me to let go of her.
I guess you started her yourself, too, right? You said you got her at 6 weeks old.
Yes.
I mean, she stayed at your house and learned. She didn't go anywhere else to get started.
Right.
So if you could describe her style in a nutshell, her typical hunt style, because you do quite a bit of comp hunting and traveling with her. So if you described her style, what would it look like?
Well, I'll have to back up on that a little bit. I had her for a little bit. And a buddy of mine, Jared Lindsay. I ain't seen him much in competition right now, but he used to hunt a lot. He's got a dog named Rock. He's like, well, if you'll bring her up here, I'll run her, since you're working so much. Well, I wind up driving up there and I dropped her off. Well, that weekend I had to go get her. I missed her and I wanted to go hunting. Well, I get up there and I could tell a big difference in her just from, her getting run, morning and evening with him
Right.
that week while I didn't get to run her. She got a week in the woods there that I couldn't give her. He gave her a week's worth, what I give her a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a young dog at that age, as much as you can put them in the woods, the better.
So she didn't go back after that. Then you kept her and just kept getting her in the woods and get her going.
Yeah, I kept her. I never carried her back up there.
Well, she's done a heck of a job. I know last year, 2023 Feist Days, there was 17 dogs. Was that the biggest one to that date, Chad?
Yes. Yes, it's kind of grown every year, but yeah, that was our biggest one so far.
Yeah, so this year there was 22 one day and 24 the next day, wasn't there? Or 24 that afternoon. And,
Yeah, there ended up being 24 in the whole hunt.
Yeah,
I tell you what,
looking at that scorecard, I mean, Sage was a dog to beat. She was on fire this weekend.
I went up to the National Treeing Feist Breeders Association. Actually, Chad, you was up there at that hunt. I think I drew you in the semis, didn't I?
Yeah, second round. It was hot midday. It was horrible.
It was, and I think she wasn't, but I don't know. She probably wasn't a year and a half then. That was back in what, 21?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I wound up going out with you in the finals of that hunt.
Yeah, the finals was me and Merle and I'm trying to think of his name. Had the birdie dog.
I know who you're talking about, and I can't get his name either.
Josh.
That's it. Yep. I tell you what, you get up in that caliber of dogs, and you never know who's going to win.
Well, I mean, look at this past weekend. I mean, there's a bunch of good dogs there.
There's a pile of them. Pile of good dogs.
A lot of your top 7 dogs of the dog of the year runoff were there already. So I mean, there was a lot of good dogs there. And I know you don't get a lot of chance to hunt and with work and family and everything, but if you got time to hunt, of course, Sage would be at the top of that top 7 list, I'm sure.
Oh, I would say she would. My youngest boy is autistic, and I don't get to go like I'd like to, and it's a lot on my wife, for me to be gone all weekend to a hunt. If you're lucky enough to win your cast and go to the next round and go to the finals, you're there all weekend.
Yeah, I live a lot closer to you. They're a lot closer than you to the Twin Lakes Coon Club. I was driving 30 minutes back and forth, and I was beat by Sunday. And I didn't even have a dog in the hunt. So I know you were beat.
I'll be honest with you, man. When we got in Saturday night after running with Merle, I couldn't talk to him long. I'm like, guys, I'm going to lay down. I'm tired.
Well, I feel like
chasing a dog running them hills and hollers, man, it'll get you tired.
Oh, LBL will absolutely eat your breakfast for you. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've jumped through, a pretty lengthy list of accomplishments here for a 3-year-old dog. An impressive list of accomplishments.
She's been, I've been lucky. I'll be honest with you. I've been lucky. It's my dad. He's got a little dog, and I've tried to get him to go to some competitions, and I try to tell him, because he ain't been. There's so much can happen in competition, and if a guy that hunts competition, he knows what I'm talking about. But a guy that's never been, there's so much that can happen. It ain't just like pleasure hunting with your dog alone in the woods. There's so many things can happen. You can call your dog too quick. They can see another squirrel over here on the hillside, and chase after it and get a minus. There's just a lot of it's luck, man. Having a good spot, going to a good spot, and
it helps to catch a break and have a lot of luck.
Mm-hmm. It does. Yep.
Yeah, luck goes a long way. If me and you were out hunting and a competition hunting, we cut our dogs loose and they run out through there and your dog goes left and mine goes right and the squirrel just happens to be to the right.
Yep.
I mean, it can be just luck like that. I mean, it's just...
I've and this ain't even going to talk about any of my dogs. Sage was young, and I didn't think she was nowhere near ready to hunt a world hunt. And my Jack dog, he had passed. A buddy of mine, I hunted the dog at his Tesco, and we cut the dogs loose over in lower hill. We cut him loose, and he went right. The other dogs went left and got treed behind pretty much a guy's house. And they're like, I don't know if we can go over there. I'm like, well, if he trees, we're going over there. I got to go get him anyway. We might as well go score the tree. You know, he didn't know it's that dude's backyard. But anyway, we get over there, and he's got a squirrel, and that's the only squirrel that we treed on the whole cast. You know, it would have been a dead cast.
And wasn't even sure if you wanted to go.
Right. You know, it's just something like that. Like Chad was saying, you can hunt this whole area, you know, and they might be just that one little squirrel on the outside, you know, in that hour and a half or 2 hour cast, you know. Luck plays a big part in it, no doubt about it.
Well, you think you're going to make the world hunt in March, into March? You going to have sage up there?
Oh, if everything goes as planned, I ain't going to miss a world hunt thing. Keep from it.
I didn't figure so. When I was going back kind of digging up all my sage history, I noticed that there was quite a few sage pictures taken over the years and up at the UKC World Hunt.
Yeah, she was the highest scoring female at the World last year.
And was she in Dog of the Year runoff last year as well?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought I saw one in there somewhere. I never saw the placements, but I thought I saw her in there in the runoff.
I think so. Well, I believe I drew Chad, and who was it? Chad Donald Barnes, maybe.
That was that round was Sage and Sophie and Bo. Was that first round?
Sophie being
Gotcha.
Dennis Woods' Sophie.
Yeah,
I
man.
tell you what,
that was a pretty rough cast because it was rain. I mean, we had rain the whole time there.
Yeah, it wasn't worth a crap. You know, I judged the finals in the next round. I think it was Johnny Jude's Twinkie and Bo and Vance's Robber. Right out of the gate, Bo was 300 plus. You know, it's hard to catch a dog when he's 300 ahead of you. You know, right out of the gate, especially with the
30
weather.
minutes, and then it just started pouring. We got drowned.
Yep. You know, with the weather coming in like that, and you're already there, it's just it's hard to climb a ladder like that when you're that far ahead. They say every dog has his day, and it just happened to been mine this weekend and yours that weekend, and who knows who's it's going to be at the World.
I wouldn't sell Sage too short. I saw her go. I was impressed with her.
Thank you.
Other than the World Hunt coming up, you know, you and I talked a little bit about breeding. I know you've kind of tossed around the idea, trying to figure out when you wanted to and who you wanted to cross with and that sort of thing. So what's the future of McCarson kennels look like?
Man, I don't know. You know, there's several dogs that I've looked at, and one of those dogs is going to make the best cross, and you don't know which one that is. You've got Bo, he's a Hall of Fame dog. You got Robert, he's a Hall of Fame dog. You got Merle, that would be a half brother, half sister cross. You know, he's always in the running. You got Pig, he's a 3-time world champion. I don't know. Close your eyes and pick, I guess. You know, a lot of guys, they say that if you like what you like, you know, line breeding, well, I don't know. I don't know if a line breeding would be better or outcross would it be better. You just don't never know until you do it. But
and you're not really a big kennel, keep a lot of dogs kind of guy, right? You're kind of
I ain't.
more like
I've
me,
always
a one
had
dog
one.
show.
I am. You know, I work so much, man. She don't even get the time that she needs. You know, so if I had 2 dogs in a kennel, you know, it's just I don't have the time.
I know what you mean. Well, another place that I've been trying to catch Sage, and I haven't checked in a while, but you took Sage to that Gamo hunt. What was the guy and gal that put that on there? I don't know if it's on YouTube yet.
Well, it's the Squirrel Master Classic. Jackie Bushman puts it on. I hunted with Ralph and Vicky on the Choice.
The Choice, yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Williams called me and asked me if I'd like to go, which you know, I talked to him about it years ago and kind of forgot all about it, to be honest with you, man. And he texted me one day or messaged me, and he's like, "What are you doing? You know, and can you give me a call when you get a chance?" So I called him, and he's like, "Well, you been hunting a lot?" I'm like, "No, man, I've been working a lot." I'm like, "Wow, what's going on? What's on your mind?" He's like, "We need another dog up here at the Classic." I said, "Well, sign me up. I'll be there." I enjoyed it.
And I hadn't got, well, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't tell us. People will go watch it now, and I haven't got to watch it, so don't tell me if you won or not. But did you kill very many squirrels?
I had to be up there by like 11 o'clock one day, and we hunted that. They fed us, and we hunted that evening. They give us a lodge to stay in, and we went that morning. They fed us that morning, and we went. So we hunted that evening and the morning, and we killed 32 squirrels, I believe it was.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Me and Jared Hughes, he's got a cur dog named Bojangles. I hunted with him, with Ralph and Vicky.
Did you keep score between Sage and Bojangles?
No,
Oh.
no, we was running and a gunning.
I was gonna say 32 squirrels. Yeah, you probably were shooting a lot. You didn't have time to keep track.
Yeah.
I imagine.
I tell you what, I mean, they treed on some few trees together. They were split a lot. That morning we dropped off at this one place, and then I loaded up and went to another piece of property, and let half the crew hunt with Bo and half the crew hunt with Sage. I kind of hit them with a different strategy. Instead of two dogs hunting one property, you're wasting each dog's energy treeing on one tree when you could split them up, and just go to one dog.
I mean, is that really just like bragging rights, Squirrel Master Classic kind of thing, or
man, I tell you what, it's 4-H. It's the 4-H kids mainly. They take the I guess the best, the high scoring, the best grades on the 4-H kids, and they'll pick a few of those kids and they'll bring them to the Squirrel Master Classic, and it's kind of to promote kids to go hunting, and it's good to have a dog. They can talk, and it don't bother that dog. They can talk and have a good time, and they ain't got to be quiet and kill squirrels.
Yeah. Yeah, I look for it. I hadn't checked in a while, but I look for it there on that Choice YouTube channel. I hadn't seen it come up yet, but that's why I say don't.
It aired. It aired on the Outdoor channel and the Pursuit channel. I recorded it. A couple of my buddies watched it, but I don't think it's aired on YouTube yet.
Well, don't ruin it for us yet. Give everybody a reason to go look for it.
It's not a bad show, man. They done a really good job on it.
Well, Jamie, I always try to get some kind of funny story on these things, so it can be about you or it can be about Vance if you wanted to. But got any good funny stories to tell us?
Or Sage.
Daddy was pretty strict on us growing up. I tell you what, I wouldn't know what a squirrel dog was if Daddy had rabbit dogs growing up. When I was a kid, it'd be cold outside, or if I got tired of walking, I'd grab him on the back of the neck. He'd stick my feet down in his back pockets, and I had to have my arms around his neck. He could still shoot, when he was rabbit hunting. But later on in life, he got some squirrel dogs. I had a old 83 Thunderbird. I didn't have a truck or nothing, so heck, I'd load them dogs up in the trunk of that car. We'd drive down to a PBA somewhere and open up the trunk of that car. Well, one of them gets sick and throw up back there. We'd cut them dogs loose and we'd hunt. And I'll be honest with you, as a kid growing up, you really don't value, how much fun that you have hunting with a dog. I worked with a guy, and he was a plumber. He mentioned he had some dogs, and, I wasn't in a place where I could have a dog right now and do it any justice. I was still running around. I wasn't settled down yet. A few years later, I see him again, and, I'm married. So he's mentioned he's got some pups. I wound up getting into it and just never realized I would enjoy it like I do. I used to be big into deer hunting. Used to love to be in the deer woods, but if I go deer hunting anymore and see all them squirrels running around, I just wish I'd have took my dog, made a few trees.
I can feel that pain. I've been feeling that for about 3-4 years now. It seems like I hadn't even cared if I killed a deer.
Yeah, I've got several nice deer on the wall, and yeah, it's fun. Have a big deer come up on you, but it's also fun to walk to a dog that's treed.
Well, let me tell this story real quick, and it's kind of on Jamie, I guess. And I guess it's kind of a funny story, but then again, it talks to Jamie's dedication on these squirrel dogs. So when I first met Jamie, I guess we were at Treeing Feist Days down in Corbin, and it's raining, and Jamie pulls up in this car.
Oh yeah.
And so, it's raining, and he gets out and crawls underneath the car. I'm like, what's he doing? So I finally figured out. So Jamie would get in the car, start the car, set the parking brake, crawl underneath of it to manually change the gears to drive or whatever. Then he'd get back in, take emergency brake off, and take off. And it was pouring down. I know he had to have been soaking wet. Yeah. But he drove that car several times. I've seen him at hunts, and he's still driving the same car. Did you ever fix that thing?
I didn't. When it kicked over on me, I hauled it to the scrap yard and done away with it. But I had a truck here, but it got a whole lot better gas mileage than my truck, so I just drove that car everywhere I went.
I thought that was kind of funny, but it does show Jamie's dedication
I was going to say
to
that's some
going to
real
these hunts.
dedication.
And,
I don't think I'd do it.
yeah,
It was that hunt he's talking about. I drew somebody. I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Earl. I know it was a guy in a red Chevrolet truck, and he's like, "Man, is everything all right?" I said, "Buddy, just let me put it in gear." I said, "I'll be right behind you."
Well, Jamie, we've got you on the phone late at night, and do appreciate it. I don't know, I told Chad we were talking about an episode, we're coming off the holidays and a full weekend of hunting and all that, and we didn't really have anything lined up. And I said, man, let's just talk to Jamie. Back-to-back Treeing Feist Days wins is, that's pretty impressive when you look at the caliber of dogs that were there and what you were up against. And not only that, I mean, you high-scoring dog all 3 rounds and in dramatic fashion. I mean, you jumped out there with 1,100 plus after the first 2 casts, and that's why I said you had to be feeling a little bit comfortable.
Oh, sure. Anybody that would brought in that kind of score would, but.
Well, we do appreciate it. Again, congratulations to you, and probably have you on again one of these days, I'm sure, if Sage keeps going at this rate.
But I tell you what, competition's stiff, man. It's when I was running Jack, and we talk about it a lot, I think the last 3 or 4 years, 5 tops competition, it's really, really gotten tough, I think. There's some nice dogs out there.
Well, and just you kind of being just a working guy with a good dog, we do get people that listen that are getting their first pups or just getting into it, or some of them may buy started dogs and then have questions. Is there any kind of golden piece of advice you could give somebody that feels like they work too much to put time into a dog?
Well, man, I tell you what, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, was it Landon Hinkle that didn't he run some part of the organization back, when in London, Kentucky, when we had some hunts over there?
Yeah, he was a board member MFA there for a couple of years.
When I had Jack, for instance, I'd see, on the squirrel hunting pages, the MFA or NFBA or, when all of them was going, or Squirrel Dogs or Squirrel Hunters Unleashed, when all of them was out. See these guys going to these competition hunts and talk to somebody and be like, "Hey, man, you ought to come to a hunt." And you hear competition. I mean, I killed a lot of squirrels with him, but you hear competition and it kind of scares you to go. If anybody is listening to this that's got a little dog, all I can say is come try it. You never know. I mean, you might have a great day like I did this weekend and win the whole thing. If you've got a dog that'll go hunting and hold a tree until you get there, you're just as you might win it just like me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I kind of learned that the same way too. When I got my first pup from Chad, and I told him, I said, "Oh, I just want a pleasure dog. If I ever thought it was that good, yeah, maybe I'll come to one of your hunts." Didn't have a clue. And of course now I'm addicted to the stuff, but I went and spectated a hunt, and kind of watched the other dogs, and that's exactly what I figured out. Is it really? I mean, there's high caliber dogs out there in every registry, but you don't have to look at your dog and think, well, my dog isn't that dog in order to win, because
you never know until you go.
Right. Like we said, all it takes is a lucky break, things to go your way, and you can beat one of them high caliber dogs, any day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, just meeting people, man. Just, the guys there has got the same thing that you've got. They love dogs and they love squirrel hunting, and it's a great atmosphere. I love to talk about it. I love to do it. My wife says, when you're not squirrel hunting, you're squirrel hunting. That's what she tells me. Because if I'm out in the woods hunting my dog, I'm talking about it.
Yeah, I like that. When you're not hunting, you're hunting. I like that.
Yeah, that's what she tells me.
Well, all right, Jamie. Yeah. We'll let you get to bed. Again, thanks for coming on. Thanks for kind of.
Well, y'all done got me amped up. Now I'm ready to talk for another 30 minutes.
And definitely wanted to hit on Sage's success and get you on the phone. And you're always easy to talk to, good to talk to, fun to be around. So we appreciate it, Jamie. Glad you came on and look forward to seeing you at the hunts.
Yes, sir. Y'all take care, and we'll see you on the next tree.
Yes, sir.
You too.
Bye-bye.